Mr. Speaker, today is the last day of National Down Syndrome Awareness Week. Ironically, due to Tory cuts, Alberta Health Services is eliminating funding for the nurse coordinator position at the Edmonton Down Syndrome Medical Clinic in the Stollery Children's Hospital. Despite recognizing this position as an essential health service in 2011, this government is now trying to download the costs onto a local charity. To the Minister of Health, how can this minister justify cuts to this essential service?
Honourable Member of Health.
Well, Mr. Speaker, our first and only concern as a government is to ensure that the needs of these young children and their families are met. I have spoken with Alberta Health Services today. I am assured by Alberta Health Services that this program is not ending, Mr. Speaker, that it will continue. And I expect Alberta Health Services to work with the families and with the community organization that represents these families to find an acceptable solution to this issue.
Honourable Member.
Mr. Speaker, given that instead of funding this essential service, this government chooses to pay for things like unused London hotel rooms, will the minister admit that forcing parents to hold a bake sale for essential services is a slap in the face to families affected by Down syndrome?
Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, this is a very irresponsible distortion of the facts of this situation. As I said in my earlier answer, my office was in contact with Alberta Health Services earlier today. We are assured that this clinic is not shutting down, and I have indicated very clearly to AHS that they need to work with the families and the community organization that represents those families to ensure that these services continue to be provided.
Honourable Member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given that during the PC leadership race, the Premier's website said, and I quote, "I want to identify services that can be transferred to community leadership or privatized." And given that this service has now been passed off to community leadership, can the Premier tell us regarding services for kids with Down syndrome, is this what she had in mind?
Yeah. Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, apparently the honourable member is not interested in the answer that I gave him in his first question. I will say to him and to this House once again, there is no jurisdiction in this country and there is no Premier in this country and no government that is more committed to the needs of families and children with Down syndrome than that in Alberta.